Go make you ready. The excitement of the stage, the suspense and magic of the theatre. Playhouse, players, and now the actual putting on of plays.
Is all our company here?
You were best to call them generally man by man according to the script.
Here is a roll of every man's name, which is thought fit through all Athens to plan our interlude of the Duke and Duchess on his...
A very good piece of work, I assure you, and a merry. Now, good Peter Quince, call forth the actors by the scroll. Masters, spread yourselves.
Answer as I call you. Nick Potter.
Ready.
The Weaver.
Name what part I am for, and proceed.
Nick Potter, you are sent down for Pyramus.
What is Pyramus? A lover or a tyrant?
A lover that kills himself, most gallant for love.
That will ask for some tears in the true performing of it. If I do it, let the audience look to their eyes. I will move storms. I will condole in some measure. To the rest, yet my chief humour is for a tyrant. I could play Hercules rarely, or a part to tear a cat in, to split all ends.
The raging rocks and shivering shocks shall break the locks of prison gates. Amphibious car shall shine from far and make and mar the foolish things.
This was lofty. Yet this was a tyrant's vein. Hercules' vein, a lover's vein, is more condoling.
Francis Flute, the bellows mender.
Here, Peter Quince.
Francis Flute, you should take Thisbe on you.
And what is Thisbe? A wandering knight?
It is the lady that Pyramus must love.
Oh, may faith, let me not play a woman. I have a beard coming.
Oh, that is all one. You shall play it in a mask, and you may speak as small as you will.
And I shall hide my face. Let me play Thisbe too, and I will speak in a little monstrous voice.
Thisbe, Thisbe.
Oh, Pyramus dear, my lover dear, and lady dear.
No, you must play Pyramus and Flute. You, Thisbe.
Well, proceed.
Robin Starling, the tailor.
Here, Peter Quince.
You must play Thisbe's mother. Thomas Snout, the tinker.
Here.
Peter Quince. You, Pyramus's father. Myself, Thisbe's father. And Snout, the tailor. You, the lion's part. And I hope here is a play fitting.
Have you the lion's part written? I pray you, if it be, give it me, for I am slow of study.
You may do it extempore, for it is nothing but roaring.
Roar! Let me play the lion too, and I will roar that any man's heart will feel good to hear me. Roar! I will roar, and the Duke will say, let him roar again, let him roar again. Roar!
And you would do it too terribly. You would frighten the Duchess and the ladies that they would shriek. And that were enough to hang us all.
I grant you, friends, if we were to spike the ladies out of their wits, they would have no discretion but to hang us. But I will aggravate my voice, and I will roar as any sucking gentle dove, or as 'twere any nightingale.
You can play no part but Pyramus. For Pyramus is a sweet-faced man, a proper man, a most lovely, gentleman-like man.
And courageous. Be perfect. Take pains. Adieu.
At the Duke's Oak we meet.
Enough. Hold or cut bowstrings.
The best in this kind are but shadows. A shadow was the old Elizabethan word for an actor or player, and Shakespeare's genius lay in interesting us in actors as never before, in making us see that we are all actors in a stage play world. Artisans, rude mechanicals, ordinary people, all actors, and life itself a walking shadow. He could make Bottom sound like Hamlet in a world where carpenters talked like gods. He lived, after all, Shakespeare, in a world in which carpenters built theatres, became theatre managers, and grocers became artistic directors. The theatre makes everything possible. Tragedy now deepened and darkened in Shakespeare's plays as actual tragedy entered his life. The death of his only son, Hamnet, aged 11.
And all my bowels crumble up to dust. I am a scribbled form, drawn by a pen on a parchment. Against this fire do I shrink up.
It was the first time I'd slipped into the skin of the unfortunate king. He'd been poisoned. What had happened to my son? How sweet it was for a moment to retreat into the unreal world of the play and shut out the terrible questions I knew must come. Not for long, though. 40 minutes later, King John was dead, the drama was over, and I was on my way back to Stratford. The rooks were cawing from the elms as I rode in. The shutters of the upstairs room were closed. He wrote it on the spot.
Grief fills the room up of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuffs out his vacant garments with his form.
He's dead. He's dead and rotten. 10 years later, in King Lear, the pain was still going on. But out of Will's personal tragedy came dramatic triumph for him in a series of tragedies that are unsurpassed in the theatre. Just as out of the destruction of the theatre that stood here, there rose the triumph of the globe. The lease ran out on the land here on which Burbage's theatre, this very site here, and their unscrupulous landlord threatened their very existence. And so, to save their theatre and their livelihoods, in an audacious, bold move, 3 days after Christmas, 1598, 41 decades ago, that's all, 41 decades ago, as the Thames froze over, Shakespeare and his acting fellows literally tore down the edifice that stood here, their beloved theatre, Burbage's brainchild. Under cover of darkness, they trundled the timbers across the frozen Thames, across the river overnight, to rebuild it on the other side as the famous Globe. The landlord arrived to find the theatre gone, melted into air, into thin air. They'd taken it, the playhouse he'd intended to have as his own by default. He'd intended it to steal from them, and they left not a rack behind. The following year, the Globe opened for business on the bank side, and it was very possibly Shakespeare himself who referred to the new wooden O by taking the part of prologue to Henry V, first performed there in 1599.